me a second. I have to download the.
Exactly. Patrick, thank you so much for joining me. My name is Mo with Alt AZ. How you doing today, man?
I'm good. How you doing?
Hey, not too bad, dude. Not too bad. We're right around the corner from this new album. We're all really excited about it. So much for Stardust. It's coming out March 24th. I want to jump right into it, dude. I'm really excited that Neil Avron's back. How did you manage to get him to sign on for this project?
Well, that was a hard thing. It's funny that you mentioned that because that was really one of the big holdups on the records. He went off into mixing. He's like a A-list mixer now. So it's kind of crazy to ask him to do a record. He wins Grammys for his mixes now, and he's also like become the guy for Broadway soundtracks and things like that. And he's like he's kind of too big a deal to to do a Fall Out Boy record. He's like, I want to work with you, but I don't really want to do it if it's going to be, something obvious. If it's going to be, he didn't want to do, the like throwback kind of like, hey, it's 20 years, let's do a Neil Avron record. And meanwhile, I think I had to convince the band too, because I think the band was kind of thinking when I was thinking Neil, I think everybody else was like, yeah, we don't really want to do, Cork Tree again. And I'm like, no, that's not what I want. That's not what I want either. I want to do something that we make in the same way, where like we took the same amount of time in this, because Neil is very meticulous. He's like a master chef. Every knob of every amplifier, he's very, very careful and very, we'll even get into the voltage running out of the wall sockets to like make sure that it's precise to be, he's very, very meticulous. And I wanted to make a record like that again, because there's something it's magical when you're part of it, when you get to be in there. And so I got everybody together on it eventually. And it was like no time passed. It was perfect. It was like magic.
Another thing I've been noticing about this album is this black and white smiley face, sad face. Is there a foreshadowing of duality with this album?
The symbolism stuff, I try not to wade into too much because Pete has, it's funny, we don't talk about that. It's weird. Like I know it's weird to think about, but we don't really discuss that. He kind of just goes. And in a lot of ways, we kind of trust each other. I trust him to do that, and he trusts me with the music. And I don't ask those questions. So I don't officially know what he means by that. I'm kind of a participant in it, just like everybody else. In terms of duality, though, I definitely think there is. We've been a band for long enough now, and we've experimented with a lot of different sounds and a lot of different things, and we've been a lot of places, and we're the weirdest band. I feel like we're the weirdest band because like we're these hardcore kids who go out and play with Elton John and Taylor Swift. It's like it's really weird. It's a weird place to be, where it's like we're kind of this pop band, but we're kind of this like weird little punk band that could, it's very strange. We kind of like, land in between worlds, and so I feel like this record plays with that a little bit, where there are moments on it that are maybe some of our basement, punk band, and then some moments that are like our most pop, whatever. It really kind of plays with it all. So I guess it has a duality in that way.
You may call it weird, but I think it's, you guys are very fluid and versatile, where you can go in and out of different genres and still manage to have, the sound that you guys always had, in a sense. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
And I mean, and also there's a lot of surprises too. Like, for instance, like with Love from the Other Side, this is like one of my favorite tracks right now. It is massive. I was talking to a friend of mine here at the station, and I was like, I feel like I'm on a White River rafting ride, where like you have all of this music as like the water, and your lyrics and the singing are as the life raft, and we're just on this awesome journey. And the string section, is this a reoccurring theme on the album?
It's funny you mentioned that. Yeah. So in the past, I guess it's 8 years now, I've been scoring full time, scoring films and TV.
Mhm.
So I couldn't help but but want strings and horns. I just couldn't. It's just like now it's like in there. I mean, it's always been in there.
Mhm.
I think you look at like, Thanks for the Memories, or we've always played with that stuff, but now it's like that's a big part of who I am. And I wouldn't say it's like drenched in it, but there's a few moments on the record that are like really, really heavily orchestral. So, and that's always fun for me.
Oh yeah, no, it sounds grand. Because I was actually wondering too, you've been composing for a while now. Have you learned anything that you brought into this new album?
Yeah,
Which,
definitely. We've had strings and horns and choir and stuff before. When we did it before, I was kind of relying on on Neil essentially, because I was scared. I wasn't sure that I could, I thought this was somebody else's job. This was a thing. And it was cool because we've had some really Tony Visconti did some strings on Folie à Deux that were great, really fantastic. There's a few moments on some of these records that I'm really amazed by what people have done. But there's part of me now where like now I know exactly what I want, and well, I always knew what I wanted, but now I know how to describe it because now I write for orchestras and stuff. So orchestration is a really deep job where you're learning about how layering this many instruments is going to impact the sound of things, that kind of stuff. And now I'm even finding it in guitars and things, or vocals, where I'm like, well, maybe if I do three here, that sounds better than if I do the two, or six, or whatever it is.
oh,
So
dude, that's awesome. Oh my gosh, this has me even more excited for the rest of this. Well, it's been like 6 years since we've seen you here in Phoenix. You got this big show coming up here, June 30th. You got Bring Me the Horizon, Rowan the Serpent, Daisy Grenade. How far in advance do you guys curate a lineup like this?
Well, honestly, I think management starts putting out feelers before we even know, because I think they get so excited about it. I think I play them songs, and I'm not ready for a tour yet. When I play them songs, when I play songs, I'm like, I'm still whatever, and they're like, oh, So I think right away they're like, well, who's available? But I mean, I know Pete's been talking to Bring Me the Horizon for a long time about this. So I think it's been going on probably a lot longer than I think. It's funny because Pete has, like I said, we kind of trust each other, and Pete has so much of a vision of things, and sometimes he just goes for it. He was like, "Yeah, Bring Me the Horizon," and he was like really sure of it, and not that I had any doubts, but I was like, I wouldn't really have had space to. I don't think. I think he was like, "This is what we're doing."
You keep mentioning you're like, I trust Pete. I kind of trust Pete. What do you not trust with Pete?
Staging, because he's gonna every tour he puts me 40 feet in the air on a thing, shoots me out of the floor, or I have to run around the venue and sing an acoustic set. That was maybe the worst one, because I
Oh
had
my
to I had to
God.
sprint from the stage all the way to the front of house, and then sit down and play an acoustic guitar and sing. And you're like, it's the most naked sounding thing, playing acoustic. And you sit down and you're like, like whatever. I mean, anybody would. So it's gonna be something like that. I know I'm gonna be. I think the last tour he tried to throw me a curveball, and he's like, "Okay, your piano's gonna be on fire." I'm like, "That's actually great. I'm not scared of fire. That's fine." So, I got lucky that time, but
Yeah, no eyebrows are still there. Eyelashes are good.
well, yeah, they're kind of there. I don't know.
I have one more question. I mean, this year marks some milestone anniversaries for two of your albums. Save Rock and Roll is turning 10 this year, and the 20th anniversary of Take This to Your Grave. Do you guys have anything special planned for that?
Well, so in terms of plans, I really don't know if there's anything solid, to be honest. We've kind of talked about some stuff, but it's also weird because that's happening at the same time as we're working on this record.
Mhm.
And so yeah, I don't know officially if there's any real plans yet. In terms of how that feels, it's really weird. I mean, I don't know where that time went. It doesn't feel like it's been that long. I don't feel that much older. Being in a band is very strange. Being any kind of artist is strange because you don't live in those records. You live in them while you're making them, but then you put them out into the world and then you leave. It's kind of strange because I think bands have a different relationship with their albums than their audience does. Because, like, I went and saw the Police when they reunited, and Sting didn't remember like half the words to some of the songs. I'm like, how do you not remember the words to Roxanne? I mean, that's like, and it's like, oh, because he's never listened. Why would he listen to it? You think
Yeah.
Sting sits around and listens to, whatever? And I'm like,
doing
now,
karaoke
like,
at his house.
yeah, exactly, right? Yeah, he's just like, hey, have you ever heard? You ever heard Roxanne? It's a great song, So, uh, and in that same way, something like Take This to Your Grave, I really haven't listened to all that much, in those 20 years. And the other day I had to, when we played the Metro, we played Calm Before the Storm, which we haven't played in like 15 years or something. And I sat down and listened to it, and I'm kind of listening to the record, and it's just so interesting. It's so, you listen to it and you're like, wow, this was great. Like, who is this band? This is cool. But you don't really, you're not in it that way. You think of it, it's almost like when you're doing it, it's like a yearbook photo or something,
Yeah.
but then looking back at it, yeah, it's really strange. It's kind of amazing.
You guys are like gods, just creating worlds for all of us to live in. Like I'm in my own, like your music is like, being in Animal Crossing. We're just creating, you guys create all these worlds, living in it and having a great time. So
Totally.
I'm glad you're getting to visit some of these worlds for this.
Well, and it's weird too because I mean, people get tattoos and stuff. People, really, it matters to people a lot. And then you, as an artist, have to let go a little bit, because sometimes you'll think to yourself, I hate that song or something, right? I won't ever say which songs, but like, oh, I don't like that song. And then you're like, well, that's somebody's favorite song. Somebody, that really matters to somebody. So you almost have to walk away and not put yourself in it that way, because and then sometimes people, the way people respond to a song changes my opinion on it, because I'll be like, oh, I don't like it, I sound stupid on it, or I play this dumb note or whatever. And then somebody really loves it, and you look back and you're like, oh, that is pretty cool. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you and the rest of the guys June 30th at oh my gosh, Talking Stick Resort Amphitheatre. They changed the name recently, so I'm trying to remember it.
No worries. I feel like all of them are doing that, and it's like, I don't know. The one. We'll be at that one.
That place, we'll see you there.
Yeah, yeah.
Patrick, thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a great
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Totally. We'll see you. Bye, dude.
All right, talk to you later.